Greetings to all, my name is Grudar and welcome to day 5 of Eldritch Moon spoilers. Now, today there have been some more cool spoilers, and let's start off with a rough translation. Stromkirk Mystic is 2 generic 1 red for a creature, for a 3/2 creature vampire horror with trample, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library until end of turn you may cast that card. It also has madness for 1 generic 1 red. This card is interesting. The exile the top card of your library until end of turn you may cast that card effect is pretty strong. We've already seen it with Prophetic Flame Speaker in Journey into Nyx, and that card was pretty strong. So the only weird part about this card is that the vampires usually have madness, so you usually don't want to cast them outside of discarding them, or I mean you don't want to cast them for their actual costs. So it might be kind of a non-bow with other vampires. In Limited, this card is really great. In Constructed, maybe. It really depends. Emrakul's Evangel is 2 generic 1 green for a 3/2 creature human horror. You can tap it and sacrifice it and any number of other non-eldrazi creatures to put a 3/2 colorless eldrazi creature token, eldrazi horror creature token onto the battlefield for each creature sacrificed this way, so also for itself. Note it doesn't say non-token, but it says non-eldrazi, so there you go. Tokens, dodging removal. That's what this card is good for. So do keep in mind that if you sacrifice, I mean you have to sacrifice itself, but that doesn't really matter because it stays a 3/2. It becomes colorless and loses its effect, but that's not a big deal if you dodge removal or turn tokens into 3/2 creatures. In Limited, this card is really great. In Standard or other construct formats, maybe. I guess in Standard, this is pretty good with green-white tokens, where you can just turn your 1/1s into 3/2s. So you basically give a lot of creatures +2/+1. And it's a 3/2 for 3, which is not horrible. Ulvenwald Captive is 1 generic 1 green for a 1/2 creature werewolf horror. With Defender, you can tap to add green to your mana pool, and you can pay 7 to transform it to become Ulvenwald Abomination, which is a 4/6 eldrazi werewolf, and it taps to add double colorless to your mana pool. In Constructed, no, it's not that good of a mana dork, but in Limited, it's great. It's a 1/2. It's a blocker. It can block 1/1s without dying, and it generates mana, and later in the game it becomes more useful. So, good stuff. Side note, the mana dorks work really well with the emerge creatures, since you can tap them and then sacrifice them for the emerge, which makes their converted mana cost 1 more. Collective Brutality is 1 generic 1 red for a sorcery. Escalate, discard a card. Choose 1 or more. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose an instant or sorcery card from it. That player discards that card. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Great card. It enables really cheap madness cards like Fiery Temper or low cost vampires really easily, and it does good stuff in the process. I mean, revealing their hand and choosing an instant or sorcery to discard it, giving a creature -2/-2 until end of turn, So basically, if you do this with Fiery Temper, you can look at your opponent's hand, perhaps discard an instant or sorcery, and deal 5 damage to a creature for 3 mana. So that's a lot of good stuff. And the last mode is just more juice. You can discard another card, so it's a really good card. Mighty standard play if vampires become viable. And in limited, this is a great madness enabler, and it does removal, so yeah, sure. Distended Mindbender is 8 generic for a 5/5 eldrazi insect with emerge for 7, of which 2 black. When you cast it, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose from it a non-land card with converted mana cost 3 or less, and a card with converted mana cost 4 or greater. That player discards those cards. Amazing. Amazing, really. There's so much good stuff you can do it. Play a Matter Reshaper on turn 3, play this dude on turn 4, and you have insanity. Absolute insanity. That means you have something on the battlefield and a 5/5, and you get to discard at least 1 card from their hand. 1 or 2 cards. So, insane card, really. We'll see standard play if Eldrazi decks become viable. Might even see modern play in some sort of new Eldrazi modern strategy. In limited, this card is also good, but not as good. Peace of Mind is 1 generic 1 white for an enchantment. You can pay white to discard a card and you gain 3 life. This is a reprint and it's an okay one. It's a white madness enabler basically, so Mardu Madness, here we come? Maybe? Well, it's a card. It's a card. Do keep in mind you can play this and the 1/1 first strike lifelinker to transform it really quickly and have a 4/4 first strike trample lifelink on turn 3. So that's an insane combo, but obviously it's 2 cards to pull off and you have to discard a card. In limited, you usually don't want to play this card. Outside of limited, you also don't really want to play this card. It's just not that good. Prey Upon is 1 green for a sorcery. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. This is a reprint. It's a great reprint. It's common and it's 1 mana removal, so play this in every limited deck ever. Yes, this will probably see standard play, because it's a great card. It's 1 mana removal. What are you gonna do about it? It's 1 mana removal. Wailing Ghoul is 1 generic 1 black for a 1/3 zombie creature. When it enters the battlefield, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Great card in limited. Won't see playing anything else. In limited, it's good because it's a zombie one. It's a 1/3, it's an early blocker, and it gives you Delirium faster, so good limited card. And the final, coolest spoiler of the day is Tamiyo Field Researcher. 1 generic, 1 green, 1 white, 1 blue for a 4 loyalty planeswalker, Tamiyo. She has 3 abilities. The first one is +1. Choose up to 2 target creatures until your next turn. Whenever either of those creatures deals combat damage, you draw a card. Not combat damage to a player, not combat damage to a creature, combat damage. -2 says tap up to 2 target non-land permanents. They don't untap during their controller's next untap step. -7 says draw 3 cards, you get an emblem with, you may cast non-land cards from your hand without paying their mana costs. Okay, let's just start at the beginning. This +1 is amazing. If you don't have any creatures, you can just use the +1 on your opponent's creatures, of which you think are gonna attack Tamiyo, or which basically have to attack Tamiyo to kill her, and you get to draw cards. You just get to draw cards. And if you do have creatures, great, use it on those creatures. Free card draw, it's only 4 mana. -2, you can tap 2 stuff. -2, you can tap 2 things. It's always useful. You need something big dealt with? Sure, tap it. It does not tap next turn. Her -7 though, if you manage to get there, you basically win the game. You draw 3 cards, and then you get to cast anything without paying anything. So basically you get to cast Emrakul for free. That's what card reads. This is just insanity. This is insanity. Obviously, if you open this unlimited, just go green, white and blue. Just do it. This card will see standard play, I am pretty sure. Might even see play out of standard, modern, who knows. It's an amazing card. So that does it for the day 5 of Magic the Gathering spoilers. So the next spoilers won't be coming until next Monday, or at least the videos won't be coming until next Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to some more great cards. I really love the Tamiyo. I might just play Bant in standard now. Well, I'm probably gonna play Dimir Eldrazi. I don't know, I'm still figuring out a deck to make. But I really liked some of these spoilers. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!